Hey there guys, and welcome to the new mountain bike show with me, Luke Hamilton. In this week's episode, I'll be talking to Brian Kennedy from BKXC via Skype about guided mountain biking and whether people like me should be considering it. Lots of updates on what this show is going to become because I've been thinking about that a lot over the last couple of weeks while I've not been uploading. So yeah, loads to come in this episode. Let's get into it. Right, so let's get into some channel updates. So, like I said, I've been thinking a lot about what I'm going to do with this show specifically. The rest of the channel is kind of going to stay much the same. I'm going to do some mountain bike riding and record the POV stuff. But I'm very excited about the response I've had to this show. And I've had various conversations with various people about what they like about it and what, yeah, it's just what's good about it. So it's given me some real direction on where to go with this show. And one of the things I really want to do and that people are really enjoying is that I dig through all of the YouTube channels that I can find to do with mountain biking, and I find the new and really good, exciting channels and share them with you guys. So basically that is going to become a much bigger part of the show. So instead of doing the shreds of the weeks with the weekend warrior, semi-pro and pro shred of the week, what I'm going to do is, to keep it roughly the same length, I'm going to do two features that are going to be about like up and coming YouTubers. They might be pro riders, they might just be people that are doing this at the weekend. So what I'm going to have is like a weekend warrior category still, but it's more going to be geared about the channel. So what I'll do is I'll talk about their channel, recommend one video from their channel that I really enjoyed, give you the links to them, and then I'm going to carry on with the channel of the week. But the channel of the week will exclusively go to, you know, smaller YouTube channels just to help you find these guys. So with that in mind, I've got a couple of questions that I want to ask. I've seen these survey like tags that people put at the top of their videos these days. So I'm going to use a couple of those to get you guys to help me a little bit with the channel. So first up, I need to name this series. The new mountain bike show, the name needs to change. So I was thinking of just the mountain bike show, with Luke Hamilton, you know, I don't know, you know, the hub, I don't know, the hub show. There could be so many different options. So what I'll do is I'll have a think about it, stick some options above, and then I'll have an other option. And if you click that, then go down to the comments and tell me what you think that this show should be called based on what you see today of the kind of evolution of it and what it is going to be doing from here on in. And then the second thing that I really need your help with, and this is going to be on like a weekly basis now, or really you can comment, it'd be better for me if you just commented on the mountain bike show, whatever the name is going to be for this show, and give me your recommendations for channels that you think that deserve a mention in this show. I'd prefer it if you just recommended other people's channels, otherwise it just gets a bit spammy if everyone's just going, oh, check my channel out. It was much more sincere and means a lot more if you found someone and you recommend their channel to me below. So if we could stick to that, that'd be great. If you have got a channel that you think I'll watch some of the footage and will just be blown away, then obviously I'm not going to ignore that. But yeah, it would mean a lot more if you kind of recommend another channel. So in the comments below today and every week, make sure you stick your recommendations in there to me, and maybe they'll make it into my show the following week after that. That'd really help me out a lot with the research that goes into making this show. Right, so let's get into the kind of second section. The first, like I say, I'll just talk through, because the show is taking on a bit of a change, I'll talk through each different section of the show. So that first one was channel updates. This second bit is going to be my weekend warrior of the week. So it's not weekend warrior shred of the week, it's just weekend warrior of the week. And just to be clear, weekend warrior is just a term that I'm going to use so as I can fit two separate categories in. So weekend warrior is kind of the runner-up to the channel of the week. So and weekend warrior doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the riding ability of the person in the videos that's featured. So weekend warrior is normally like a term given to someone that just rides at the weekends when they're not working, but in this case it's very much more about the channel itself. Not very many subscribers, undiscovered kind of gem. And this week I actually got a recommendation from BKXC, Brian Kennedy, about a chap called Steve Storey. And Steve Storey is a very well-known person really in mountain biking and adventuring. He's much bigger on his Facebook page and Instagram, and he's got a lot more videos on Vimeo or Vimeo, I don't know how you say that one, but that other video watching platform. And he's got less than 20 videos on YouTube. He's got less than 200 subscribers on YouTube, but he's a really interesting character, this guy. I'll show you a bit of footage now of Steve Storey's run that he did last year. He dedicated a lot of his time to winning the GoPro Line of the Year competition, and the video was just absolutely superb. This video that's on GoPro's channel has got like over 360,000 views, I think it is. You know, it's straight direct on GoPro's channel. Line of the Year, Steve Storey won it last year, dedicated a lot of time, did a running Whistler that got it for him, and it was just an amazing video. But the thing that strikes me as quite funny is that his YouTube channel, I mean, they mention that his name is Steve Storey in that video, but on his YouTube channel, he's got a video of one of the drops on that same route that didn't win the Line of the Year competition for him, but it's a very similar looking run to what did win it, and it's just a wicked video. It's slightly more gloomy looking, the colours and stuff is just, I think, really good, if anything, a little bit better than the one that won Line of the Year. And yet that video on his own YouTube channel, last time I checked, had less than 100 views. Absolutely incredible. So I highly recommend you get over and check this guy out. From the bit of research that I've done, it looks like he's sponsored by some big guys, so I don't know, does that make him a pro rider? I'm not sure, but he's obviously a very competent mountain bike rider, adventurer, sponsored, does a bit of writing, really active on the internet, so it's well worth checking this guy out. So Steve Storey gets my Weekend Warrior of the Week. And that takes us on to our channel of the week, and this week I've found an absolute gem for you guys. He's a real cool dude. I managed to get hold of him on email. I wanted to try and get a bit of a kind of Skype interview with him to talk about his channel because I'm super excited for this guy. Yeah, Seb Mansfield. Basically, I'll stick the link in the description to all of these guys and the video that I recommend. But Seb Mansfield's channel really jumped out to me because I watch a bit of Scotty Cranmer stuff on YouTube. I don't even know if that's how you say his name, but he's a BMXer, a really famous BMXer. Had a big crash there, I think it was last year, maybe earlier on in this year. Binned it real bad. Is still recovering now, but his channel is like a really cool BMX channel where him and like 5 or 6 buddies do loads of different contests with each other, and it's just a really cool channel. And this Seb Mansfield is basically, and not in like a really bad copycat way, but it's kind of come up with the mountain bike version of Scotty's channel. So yeah, in his channel it's him, a couple of his mates a lot of the time, and the video of his that I recommend is this mountain bike vlog that he did. I mean, it's a really good mountain bike vlog. I won't go into too much detail. I'll show a bit of the footage from that now. Just him hanging out with his mates, sessioning a few little bits, out picking up his mate's new bike, I think, at the start. It's just a really cool video, really well laid out. But what really jumps out about Seb's channel is that he's got a really good artistic flair for making these videos. So he comes up with really creative angles. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Red Bull, the really professional Red Bull videos that you see where they get quite creative, and other kind of professional bike magazine videos that you see on YouTube from bike mag shoots. But the good thing about Seb is that whereas a lot of those videos can just feel, you know, you just kind of expect that kind of quality, and it's like watching a movie, like a really highly anticipated big bucks blockbuster movie. With the Red Bull stuff, that's kind of what you expect, so it doesn't really resonate that strongly with me. But because Seb is managing to kind of almost recreate that, but with a little bit more of an amateur look and feel to it, but not in a bad way at all. It's like, it's got a lot more heart and soul, I think, his videos. You can tell that he hasn't got like gantries and stuff working for him and really big stabilizer rigs and stuff. It's all him doing it with little bits and pieces of equipment, but a lot of it is just handheld footage that he just tries, you know, at different angles and experiments with it, and then obviously does quite a lot of work in post as well when he's editing, and the results are just absolutely fantastic. I predict this guy to have a massive YouTube channel if he really gets stuck into it and keeps uploading. I've emailed him and he said that he's going to be uploading once a week at least, and if he does that, his channel is just going to explode. He's only been going for a month and he's got well over 300 subscribers already. Highly recommend getting over and checking his channel out. So like I say, I did did get hold of him on email, and I wanted to quiz him because of how good the quality of his videos were. I wanted to get onto him. He's got a drone. He's got a bit of drone footage in his videos as well, so he's obviously got a drone. So I wanted to ask him a few questions, like I say, via Skype, but I managed to get some answers on email. So I'll go through some of this now. So his main camera that he uses for shooting his third-person footage is a Panasonic GH4. He shoots his kind of GoPro footage. He's got a stabilizer as well, I think I've seen him bring out once. He uses a GoPro Hero 5 for that. He's got a DJI Mavic drone that he uses. He did have the Karma drone, I think the GoPro Karma drone, but he binned it into a tree, got his money back, broke it. The thing basically took on a life of its own. That's in one of his videos. So he's got the DJI Mavic now. And then he said he uses his iPhone 7 a lot as well, which is very common. He tries to shoot as much as he can in 4K, and that really comes across in his videos, but sometimes, like we all, he has to down res to suit the other footage in his video. But just awesome stuff that he creates. I'm gonna have to read this bit off his email as well. He also uses his friend's Manfrotto video fluid head tripod that I've never heard of before. Basically in some of his videos, he does like a pan through while someone's riding down through a trail, and you can see that it's not just zoomed in and panning through the screen when he's editing in post. He actually uses like a proper tripod for this, and he's hoping to get his own one of those soon because he just borrows mates at the minute. But that really brings it up. The quality of his videos is just fantastic. So yeah, this is one of those times where it's a YouTuber that I really feel we have to just get over to his channel, watch his stuff, subscribe. He's fantastic, totally unsponsored. When you watch his channel, it looks like him and his buddies could be sponsored and earning money from this, but we need to get and watch his footage so as he can see by how well received it is that this is worth his time, his attention, and then he'll just keep uploading and hopefully get sponsorship. You know, I don't doubt it with this guy, absolute shredder, awesome at filming and editing. So yeah, really excited about this channel. 1,000 subs in another month, no problem whatsoever. So get over and check Seb Mansfield out and his buddies. I'll recommend, his vlog video, and the link to that will be in the description below. He gets my channel of the week. Okay, so that takes us nicely into the next segment of the show. Like I said before, I really do want to focus on bringing new YouTubers, getting them basically shown so as their channels grow nice and quickly, so as they get interested in YouTube a lot more and know that they can it's really worth investing time in this. But while that's said, I do want to keep an eye on the really pro YouTubers because they're uploading some fantastic stuff at the minute. So I'm going to keep going with the pro shred of the week, and this week I'm really stoked, even though I've got Brian on the show, and Brian was actually, the reason I contacted him was because it was going to be part of the pro shred of the week, because Brian's Ben Jones videos are still going and they're just fantastic. But I've just seen Nate Hills's Follow Cam Friday video from this Friday, and oh my god, it was amazing. This 5,000 feet of descent in Whistler Bike Park somewhere. It's just an absolutely phenomenal video. I'll show you some footage of this now. I'm really enjoying Whistler bike footage at the minute. There's something about the moodiness of the colours because they're all covered in by trees a lot of the time. The landscape, the BCPOV, this video from Nate, actually Steve Storey's video was in Whistler as well. These videos are just absolutely superb, and while BKXC was up there as well this week, it's great to be able to give it to someone else that Nate kind of stepped up this week and was able to kind of combat BKXC, for my money this week, making the best video of the week with this 5,000 feet of descent. Nate's really his channel grew quite organically. I think from what I've watched of him over the last kind of 6 months, he's always more focused on the riding and just capturing his rides. But over the last month or two, he's opened a Patreon account. You can see that his editing is really stepped up a notch. You can really see that he's basically pushing on with the channel, and that's showing with the subscribers. I highly recommend going on his Patreon. I'm going to go on it after this video actually and become a patron for him, because his stuff is just fantastic. You can't put a price on the amount of traveling that guy does and the video quality that he uploads. The only couple of things I would say actually about Nate at the minute is I'm not massively taken by, I don't know if you've noticed in his latest videos, he's moved his GoPro over to the left hand side of his body. I don't know if he's got it on his shoulder strap or if it's just over the left hand side of his chest, but I much prefer footage that's centered in the chest. I can totally understand why people are trying different angles to try and stand out and look a little bit different from the rest, but for me it's going to be difficult to beat that that stabilized gimbal with a GoPro right in the center of your chest. It just looks superb. So yeah, Nate, if you don't mind, if you stick your GoPro back in the center of your chest there, that'd be awesome, mate. And then the other thing about Nate as well is I totally hadn't noticed that the geezer sounds exactly like Nicolas Cage. I don't know if any of you guys have noticed.
Okay, let's run.
So yeah, I think that we need to do a call to action to Nate here to get him to do a bit of an impression of Nicolas Cage. And when I say an impression of Nicolas Cage, he just needs to pick a famous line from one of his crap films and just say it in his own voice, and that is going to be a bang on impression. So yeah, Nate, be good to see a little impression of Nicolas Cage there on your channel when you get time.
I'm a vampire! 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 I'm a vampire!
But yeah, Nate Hill's well-deserved Pro Shred of the Week. And that takes us nicely into a new segment, which is going to be called the Hangouts Preview. So, like I said at the start of this video, I managed to get hold of Brian Kennedy from BKXC this week and have a half-an-hour Skype video conference with him, or a video call with him, and record it for a video. So this segment here is going to be basically in the mountain bike show that you guys are going to name for me. And it's just going to be a preview of a video that I'll then upload later in the week. So yeah, this is just a preview to that. So this week I got hold of Brian Kennedy, and I really want to mention actually, because Brian is a very big advocate of kind of contacting people and trying to collab and trying to network. I know that because I'm a sponsor and I've got a lot of Brian's time in the past. But Brian didn't do this interview, this half-an-hour call with me because of anything like him wanting to do me a favour. I basically contacted him and said, I want you to come on my show and talk about guided riding and riding in groups, because it's something that I'm quite terrified of, is going out for a guided ride, because of the fitness and the technical ability element of it. It makes me really nervous thinking about the fact that I might go out and just be blowing out of my ass at the back of the pack the whole time, throwing up bananas in the hedge. It just sounds like my nightmare. So I kind of got hold of Brian and said, how would you fancy talking about that on my show? And because his mission is to basically get people riding, he was just totally up for it. So here's your little preview for what's to come later in the week, and I'd really like it if you could help me name these shows as well. So I've said I'd like some help naming the mountain bike show, which is this show, and then as often as I can get hold of like a bigger YouTuber or just a YouTuber that I'm particularly interested in for a Skype call, then I'll be doing like a midweek, probably a Wednesday show that's going to be called the Hangouts, the mountain bike Hangouts, something along those lines. So again, I'll give you some options above and the option of other. So if you click other, because now you're helping me name my mountain bike show and my midweek interview based show, make sure you just make that clear in the comments below. This is a name that I think you should give your mountain bike show. This is the name I think you should give your interview show. But anyway, let's have a quick look at the preview for that. Right, so guided rides. The thing that terrifies me the most, and the only way that I can think to know how someone else gets on with them, is because I watch so much of your stuff. I've got what feels like a very good understanding of your fitness and technical abilities. So one of the ways, without someone just kind of saying, because it's very easy to just say, man, just give it a try. You've got to just give these things a try. And there is that element of it. Yeah, absolutely. But it'd be so much like nicer to hear. So the trips that come into mind are obviously the Ben Jones, which the videos have just been awesome. But it's, if we come to that one second, because it's quite clear that that one's hard going. So like you're chasing epic like group ride. That's a guided ride, isn't it? That's not just you taking the boys out.
Correct. That was with Chasing Epic. Steve puts together local guides. There's one in October in Moab, and then I did one a few months ago in St. George.
Yeah. So on a ride, so that ride there looks like it's slightly lower intensity than like the Ben Jones stuff that you've just done. Is the Chasing Epic kind of like a good kind of that's kind of a good one to take in as example as like a generic kind of group ride, or is that still quite high level?
I'd say it was still kicking a lot of people's asses for sure, because it's funny, with every destination has something different, right? So if you're in Colorado, the trails aren't really highly technical. They're not crazy. They're pretty smooth and they're fast, but then you're at altitude, right? Yeah. So the altitude's going to kill you. So St. George in Utah was just very techy. It's all these little ups and downs, much like Moab, where it's like just all this technical stuff that most of the guys had never seen before. They never experienced it before. So it was just very odd, this stop and start and this come and go. And the one thing that's great about Chasing Epic, though, Steve sets out a training plan. He's like, okay, you're signed up. Here is a 4-month, 5-month, I forget how many month training plan that he sets up and says, hey, if you can get in this shape, if you can do this, you're going to be ready. And really you're so right about just getting up the balls to go on the trip, because it's a mental game that we play, right? Like when I've got a ride coming up on Monday with a couple guys that are complete shredders, and we're going to do like a 30-mile, 5,000 feet of climbing ride, and I'm intimidated, right? I'm like, oh God, am I going to hold these guys back? It's never going to end. The most fit guy in the world friggin' hates it. He thinks he's out of shape. Everybody thinks they're out of shape. Yeah. But you have to be self-aware enough to not kid yourself. So I'm sure there's a couple psychopaths out there where they're like, yeah, I'm great. I'm in shape. I can handle that. And then they come on a trip like the Ben Jones trip and just get their ass handed to them. Yeah. So and I don't have all the answers. I really don't. So it's tough where you've just got to put in the work. If you're not riding 2 days a week, 3 days a week, and you want to go on one of these trips, you're going to be the last person. Yeah. But the last person has fun too. I mean, if you can take the punishment and pain of everyone sitting there waiting for you and you puking on the side of the trail and all the great stuff that comes along with that, you being out of water almost immediately because your body can't handle it.
Cool. All right, Bri, thanks a lot, mate. That's it, I think.
Hey, thanks for having me, Luke.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Thanks a lot for that, buddy. And then I didn't see any crashes that really stood out for me this week, so I'm going to skip that this week. So we're straight into riding the web. And this week I found an absolute gem. I think this show is going to be so good this week because I've found so many good channels, and this one here is, again, just like that. It's a Kickstarter called the Mountain Bike Legacy Project, which is basically this American guy called Charlie Kelly has basically spent, I think it was from 1972 or from 1970 to 1992, collecting like anything he could possibly get his hands on to do with mountain biking. So it might be catalogs from the various mountain bike manufacturers, Shimano and stuff like that. Basically anything, like race results, just anything you can possibly imagine media-wise to do with mountain biking. This guy's collected it, put it into, secure storage, and has basically got a Kickstarter project running, so as he can basically digitalize this whole library of mountain bike stuff that he's got, which is just absolutely awesome. I'm going to go on as well in a minute and pledge some money towards that, because I would absolutely love to have access to something like that. I'll let the guys I'll play just a little bit of their clip. I'll put the link in the description below to the Kickstarter project, and you'll find the full video to this preview that I'm going to show you there.
There's so many magazines, periodicals, photographs squirreled away by Charlie Kelly over the years in his ever-growing archive.
I have club newsletters, I have magazine articles, I have race results, I have press releases, I have stories never even published.
Yeah, just an absolutely awesome cause. If there's anything that you want to be spending your money on this week, it's got to be something like that. So yeah, I would just hit that link in the description below and go and give this guy some money so as he can get this thing digitalized, so as we can all have access to it. But that's it for this week's show. So I hope you've enjoyed this one. Some really interesting stuff. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe if you're interested in this channel and this show. Don't forget to put a comment below about who you want me to put on my Weekend Warrior of the Week, basically the smaller YouTube channels, sub 1,000 I would say subscribers, my Weekend Warrior, my channel of the week for consideration. Put the comments below, and don't forget to give me some feedback on what you think this show should be named, and the midweek interview show that I'll try and get a video out probably every week, but it may be every 2 depending on how often I can get hold of people. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. That's it. On your bikes.